What's up everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. So I put up a video yesterday talking about how a reviewer pretty much botched a lot of the things that Gotham Knights is about, and I took it down because honestly I've tried to steer clear of just dealing these kinds of analyses, because I know a lot of people know that reviews are opinions, but I wish at the end of the day people can come out and be really honest. But hey, let's solve some problems rather than bother about the past. So one of my audience members from this video said, hey, I feel like I'm leveled up, but it's like I'm not dealing any damage to enemy NPCs. And I thought, this is actually very interesting. Perhaps a lot of people that have said Gotham Knights, has bullet sponge or damage sponge enemies are probably facing the same issues, because they probably approach this game from the perspective of maybe it will be some kind of an action adventure game, an Arkham-esque style game or Spider-Man game. Gotham Knights is designed very differently, but it's not necessarily outlandish in the way it's been designed. If you play other games like The Division and so on and so forth, you'll know that your gear is not just necessarily only about specific stats. So if you look at your power level and say, oh yeah, the power level of this gear is more than the power level of this gear, then hence this gear is better than this gear, you're going to go out there in the open world and you're not going to be able to take out enemy NPCs. What you need to look at are specific things that are about combat. So we'll go to the combat database and I'll tell you why enemies feel tanky to you. And one of the main things that happens, especially in the end game, this person said, I finished the game, I'm leveled up level 30 through 40, just feels like enemies aren't taking a lot of damage, is because you're needing to pay damage to what the damage displays are telling you. So I understand people want to play Gotham Knights without any of the damage numbers or any of the UI, elements on enemy stats and all, but I would say go ahead and turn them on and kind of work through figuring it out as you're going through. The discovery is the best part. I don't want to spoil it for you and just kind of spoon feed you everything. You can look online and probably get everything I've said in more detail just to basically do that, but I'll show you this. So the damage display says when dealing damage to an enemy, the color of the damage number provides useful information. If you see it grayed out, it means the enemy is somewhat resistant to that damage value. If you see it if you see the numbers are in red, it's weak, white, it's normal, and 10, and yellow is critical. So critical hits, you're going to land most of them by doing your time strikes. So that's one thing you have to prioritize. Time strikes come in handy, and if you use them, you'll be able to gain bigger damage when it comes to dealing with enemy NPCs. Now, all these other damage factors, critical being the one that does the most damage, you also have other ways of basically dropping damage on enemy NPCs using elemental damage. This is how you attack, baddies, and they also, all the bad guys have elemental resistances as well. So it says it here on the right side. It says elemental resistance is a stat that protects your hero against elemental damage types. For example, the higher your toxic resistance, the less toxic damage you'll receive. I remember another reviewer, Skill Up specifically, said, why do I need elemental damage resistance in a single player game? Oh, wow. Skill Up is a Division player, by the way, so whatever. And this says the same goes for your enemies. Freaks, for example, are highly resistant to incendiary damage. So if your gear has got incendiary stats and you go fight against the freaks, they're going to be laughing at you like, what are you doing? So I'll never use this particular ranged weapon, this one here that says incendiary darts, against the freaks. If I go to somewhere and I see freaks there, I probably jump on a rooftop, stay in a little corner, and quickly switch my gear to cryogenic darts, which will then start to give them more trouble, freeze them, and keep them in place. Once they stay in place, they're just easy fodder to take more damage, and I can go use the damage modifier that's going to give me more damage, pretty much called the critical damage, in order for me to be able to damage them more. So there is a layering when you're playing the game. I'll give another example. If you're looking at, say, damage effects, right? Let's go to combat. And you're looking at elemental damage, you think about enemies that attack you and basically try to see what elements they attack you with. And you can probably go ahead and say, this might be an element that they're actually weak to. Example is the Court of Owls. The Court of Owls attack you and they have a lot of poison buildup on your character. This is why you need elemental resistance. If you're going to the Court of Owls, maybe you get a gear item, or maybe you get a suit that has, elemental resistance. You're about to go deal with the court. You put that on, their damage is basically going to be reduced against you. But if you use poison against them, they're going to be resistant to it, obviously, in a sense. So you kind of have to do some testing to figure out, okay, what are they going to be pretty much be susceptible to? And then you'll find out. So all these gear items, all these blueprints that are being given to you are designed for you to be able to figure out how you want to build your character. Every single character as well has different, possibilities in the way they actually use their weapons and the way their weapons, hit bad guys and all of that stuff. So the amount of application of the elemental damage that you can put on an enemy NPC is going to be very determined as well on your knight. Example, this guy over here, he's got a lot of area of effect attacks. In fact, more area of effect attacks than everybody else. It's insane how much he's got, and he can use with basically one momentum bar. So that's something that you have to pay very close attention to as to how that works. So when you're going in with Robin, just know elemental attacks are going to be things that he can deal very well. He also has a fast projectile, almost faster than everybody else. I say fast, I almost said faster. Jason is the one that has the fastest because he basically uses guns, but Robin does it like crazy. So if you're trying to apply elemental attacks, you can do so. And when enemy NPCs reach a critical point where the elemental attacks, it fills up, they can also explode and cause explosions and then spread the elemental attack to NPCs around them. This is something that is very interesting about Gotham Knights combat that a lot of people kind of, in a sense, I don't know, maybe they went out there and they said, well, this game is not running me from one side to the other. I'm not hitting all the enemies. Hence, the game is bad and the combat is clunky and the combat is not engaged. You hear these things and I'm like, do these people even know, I just wonder. Somebody was trying to be snarky with me and said, you must not play a lot of video games. I play a lot of combat video games. I also play one fighting game, which is all you need, basically. To be able to play multiple fighting games is a feat on its own. I know some people that can do it. I can't, but I play Mortal Kombat. Timing is a big deal. This whole time strikes that people are losing their minds over in Gotham Knights is making me shake my head and go, man, we must have landed a whole bunch of noobs playing Gotham Knights. Sorry, I'm gonna call it what it is. And nobody wants to get good, and everybody wants to just complain. And I think this same thing came up with Elden Ring. A lot of people did not want to learn the timing, nor did they want to learn anything. And so they went out there thinking, oh yeah, we're gonna be able to go do this. Let me change my gear. See, I have electric. Let me go concussive. And you're gonna see these enemy NPCs. They're gonna be all basically just, they're going to be wailing. This guy's about done. So let me just play this sequence for you guys. He's in concussive damage already. Oh, I didn't see him. I was going to dodge that. Look, everybody's in concussive damage. Robin just has a lot of, I could just do as much as I want. Okay. See, he's just got a lot of AoE attacks that you can use against NPCs, and then once their concussive, meter is kind of full, I think they have an invisible one, or for most of their attacks, I think you can just pretty much go and you can cause an explosion. So, there's so many things you can do in this game. You can do an area of effect attack like this, where everybody is now going to be concussed. You see that? Now, when they're concussed, what does that mean? It means they're just free fodder for you to just go after. And then if you can land critical strikes, I can add concussive damage, but I'm not hitting as hard as I would love to. What do? I can use another, I can do that. And I have a lot more crowd control. What is he doing? Oh, see? These ones don't have a lot of health. If you notice, just concussive damage overall. And I'm dealing it like crazy. So yeah, it takes a little bit to hit them. But if I wanted to basically hit hard, I can go for a crit build. Because like we showed, critical damage is the highest in the game. So I go with the melee weapon. That gives me critical hits. If you notice, my critical chance on this critical momentum bow staff is, 33%. My critical damage is 108. So let's go ahead and switch that strategy. So you don't say, I'm trying to play you. Let's use this one. This was 43,160. This is 33,108. Ooh, this one looks like it's going to hurt a lot. So I'm just going to go in and just slap on some critical mods. Add a bunch of critical mods. So this is your modding system, by the way, for those of you who may or may not know. You see, this mod here is going to give me another extra, 63% critical damage. So when you look at my critical damage now on this staff, it's now at 249%. So any NPC that I want to go fight, I can just modify my ranged weapon to have the damage that they deal, or that they're susceptible to. And then I have my critical damage. So when I tap them with that, with that bow staff, that sounded weird. They'll know that, this guy is basically dealing a bunch of damage. So we're going to go ahead and try it out. I'll see the faction there, and I'll do a real-time build run so that you guys can kind of see how it works, because, this is something that, and this is available throughout the whole game, by the way, because you start getting blueprints really early. I don't know how many people, these are the freaks. Okay, so with the freaks, what I want my ranged attack to be cryogenic. So my ranged weapon, I'm going to go change it to cryo. That's my slingshot. And then I can also change my suits as well to cryo, because he does some, well, no, I'll do fire resistance. Sorry. So this suit is going to give me a little bit more resistance to their fire. But, for the most part, I can dodge it. But let's just humor ourselves and go with that full build pattern. That way you can kind of see how it works and how it all comes together. I hate the look of this suit. Yuck. Give me another one. This is also another really interesting challenge for Gotham Knights, and that's the look of some of the skins, man, because you're kind of stuck with it in a sense. All right. My biggest criticism for Gotham Knights, I think I've laid some of them, and one of them is actually Robin's traversal. It's just not fun. Okay. Oh, this is see? Now I have yellow damage coming. Boom. Everybody's done. Oh, I didn't see that. He's frozen. But this is also a real interesting thing too, because this is not only the freaks, this is also the mob. See? Everybody's taking a big hit. Here, girl. She's dead. They're all dead. I don't have to hit them too much, because now I'm hitting a lot of crits. Ooh. They're frozen out. Wham. Wham. Because my crits are insane. So I just basically just tuned everybody out, of the entire conversation, because you're dealing a lot of damage. So you can do that. You can even make your projectile weapon have, a crit-based build. So every time you just hit somebody, it hits a lot. This is how you make the game fun, by just leveraging all of the different mechanics that are there. And so the whole conversation of enemies being tanky, yeah, I don't know where many people got that stuff from, man. I think they got it from just, just a lot of the talk and just their initial perception of the game, without realizing that. That's it. So that's a freak there. So you see that? That froze her immediately. He was blocking, but he died. So, need I say more? Or is there anything else that we need to establish? Because this game really did come with a lot of these different tools to help the character. If you play a game like Jedi Fallen Order, combat's always different in different games. Jedi Fallen Order basically does a thing where they don't want you to be hitting NPCs a lot because you have a lightsaber. So they want the game to feel like you're having lightsaber combat. So they basically go ahead and let it where you can keep hitting some enemy NPCs. Some will block you, some are strong. But you also have the option to one-tap specific enemies. If you dodge their attacks in a specific way, you can pretty much one-shot them. That's the entire game. Doesn't matter the difficulty, right? So there are different parameters that you have in video games that, that you have to discover. And this game doesn't want to hold your hand through it. which is actually pretty good. That's what Elden Ring did that made everybody appreciate it for what it was. So this is pretty much a small analysis just to answer that question. I'm sure many people may have some other things that they want to add. I may have missed something or misconstrued something. If I did, let me know in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching the video. Peace out.